I feel like I'm making a really good swing at this right now. I mean, again, 4 degrees down in the angle of attack, 93 miles an hour club head speed. You know, from a player perspective, you're doing just about all you can, not far off it. And you're getting some really inconsistent results, and that's not what I want for you guys at all. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to approach what might be a little bit of a controversial subject. I used to stand on the side of, obviously, the club fitting and making sure that the club fits the player. Now we're a little bit more focused, I would say, on the more rounded aspects of performance when it comes to playing this game. And today we're going to talk about what comes first. Getting a set of golf clubs that help you with your ball flight and distance, etc., or getting your golf swing and golf game to a point where you are going to deliver more consistent results. I think you can probably tell by the way I've delivered both of those options which camp I'm in at the minute and why I think that really there is only one answer to this. So we're going to start with standard loft clubs, and then we're going to go ahead and test some stronger loft clubs to show the differences that if you don't address your part in the whole sort of game with regards to control their impact conditions, you're going to have a really hard time controlling your ball flight. All right, so we're going to hit a few shots, and I'm going to deliver the golf club, call it optimally for both clubs. And I'm going to do that for the reason that I think there are times when golfers do benefit from, in this case, stronger lofted irons, which is what we're going to test today. There are times when you've got somebody who is a bit of a slicer, somebody who is definitely a high dynamic loft player, and I'll address that in a little bit more detail in a second. But certainly the slicer is the one that I think benefits the most and actually has reason to use some slightly stronger lofted clubs. But I'm going to start off with my own clubs. I'm going to hit pitch and wedge. Fairly standard distance, about 138 is what I would hit this one. Found strength with this new pitch and wedge. Used to be a 132 club prior to getting this one dialed in. Really, really nice numbers. 100 feet peak height, carried 141. Distance from the target, 3.8 yards. Pretty good. A little bit less. I could feel I didn't quite hit that one as flush. 134, yeah. One of the things I love about a wedge like this, I've actually hit that one not quite as good. I've still hit it at the same peak, 100 feet. I didn't quite get as much ball speed. It was just a little bit of a heel strike. But I get real consistency with what I get with my current wedge. We're going to move into a stronger lofted set wedge. Let's just call it that. It doesn't matter what brand it is because every brand has them. We're going to go with the pitch and wedge, which has a little bit less loft. We're going to make the same delivery. Okay, we've kind of got the club head speed at 87, the angle of attack 6 down. We're going to see what results we get from that. Yeah, so trying to get a little bit, as I said, consistency around club head speed there. Again, at 87.6, very similar. Attack angle 5.5 down. Ball speed came out a little bit hotter. Increased our distance from target. So we lost over 1,000 RPMs of spin. We gained some height, velocity, even though it's one of the things that always, anytime I see it, I always remind you guys of it. People think more spin equals more height. It's not. It's the opposite. Height comes from ball speed. That ball went higher because it was a little bit quicker off the club face and obviously had a similar launch angle to the previous one. Let's hit one more. Keep that club speed about the same. All right, not too bad. So a little bit more variance when it comes to the stronger lofted pitch and wedge. A bit of a kind of range that the spin is working within. And obviously we're going to get a little bit more distance, get that kind of hotter distance when it comes to that one. But I think what we're going to see is we get into a little bit of a different scenario when it comes to the delivery conditions that I want to explain to you guys when it gets to the stronger lofted clubs. Correct impact dynamics get significantly hindered when you're using these stronger lofted clubs. They might work if you've got a little bit of a weaker impact sort of delivery when you're delivering high dynamic loft, but certainly when the dynamic loft is down in the sort of appropriate numbers, you're going to start to see problems with your ball flight as we move down towards the mid and long irons. Okay, so let's start talking about dynamic loft and attack angle. What in three-dimensional club delivery terms we would call spin loft. I really like attack angle with an 8 iron to be down somewhere around probably 4 degrees, maybe 4 to 5 degrees down in the angle of attack. Shallower players, obviously getting closer to 0, are going to be the lower spin players amongst us and the higher, certainly, launch players amongst us. But I want to pay attention to the dynamic loft specifically. My 8 iron has 36 degrees of dynamic loft on it. So we want to make sure that when we look at that dynamic loft number, I'm de-lofting this down to probably around 28, something like that. That would be about ideal. Good one. And that's flown a little bit further. Hit that one really nice. Ended up flying 172. As I said, static loft, 36, delivered loft, and that 26.6. I think you're starting to maybe see why stronger lofts can become a problem when you get into better impact delivery conditions. And some of you might be saying, well, stronger lofted clubs are not designed for players with better impact positions. It's designed for players with less than perfect impact. I get that. But are we not aspiring to make the best swing we can? Back to what we said at the start, we're trying to be as consistent as we possibly can. We're trying to deliver the club the best way we can. The last thing we need our equipment to do is to stop us making the improvements that we need to make, right? It's not just as simple as, you know, take a stronger lofted club and just hit it, you know, a bit further and that'll all work out for the best. Low point is a big thing, right? So if the shallower we get, the closer low point gets to the golf ball, that definitely is a problem. So we want to try and encourage this steeper angle of attack, 5.6 degrees down here, and a slightly stronger dynamic loft at 26.6. I'm all for seeing that with my own delivery. So one more. Not quite as good, but pretty good, 167. Yeah, dynamic loft, immediately I felt it. Dynamic loft was up to 29 there. Nice result. Very much what I would expect. You know, kind of distance-wise, 167 out. My 8 iron is pretty good going. Okay, so as we get into some stronger lofts, this is statically a much stronger lofted club. I believe it's 32 degrees aloft. Obviously, I've de-lofted my club by, on average there, something about 8 degrees aloft. So we take this down by 8 degrees aloft on a 32-degree loft golf club. We end up with 24 degrees of delivered loft. Barely an 8 iron still. And that's where the spin issues and the consistency issues tend to occur. So let's see what happens with this 8 iron. Okay, so we definitely see dynamic loft come down there to 23.4. Peak height's still good. Obviously, we're getting lots of ball speed out at 127. It's about my 6 iron ball speed, something like that. Tons out that. I'm just going to quickly double check club head speed. I think that's where we were with the previous club. Yeah, standard 8 iron was 91.8. Strong is 91.9. Exact same speed, entirely different result. Yeah, similar story. Strong in the loft, 22 degrees of delivered loft there. This is why gapping can become a problem, guys. This is where You know, I've kind of hit pitch and wedge there at 144. I've only missed one club. I've went from carrying at 144 to 184. I've literally jumped 40 yards with only one club between wedge and 8-iron. That is where it becomes a problem with these stronger lofted clubs, into the point where they actually aren't very functional at all. If you're starting to deliver the club correctly, this is fairly correctly what I'm doing with it today, consistent with the speed, attack angle, and the amount of forward shaft lean I'm delivering, yeah, you can see why the stronger lofted clubs could potentially be a problem. All right, guys, 6-iron now. For me, about probably 185 to 190 club, depending on how I'm hitting on the day. We are working on this premise of stronger loft conditions or stronger impact positions really do not suit stronger lofted clubs, and this kind of which comes first. You know, you don't want to certainly put the cart before the horse when it comes to the type of clubs you are going to play relative to the type of swing you would like to build in order to play well in this game. So let's hit a couple of 6-irons with my own set. One carry, leaking a hair to the right, but quite nice. Okay, 3 degrees down on the attack angle, just about 23.7 dynamic loft. Open face contributed to a little extra dynamic loft there. You can see, for someone like myself, there's no need for me to really have more distance with a 6-iron. That one there flew a little more than I would like it to. In actual fact, that one flew 198, spun at 4,700. That to me would be something indoors versus outdoors. I wouldn't spin it quite that low outdoors. But let's test the stronger lofted iron now, and again show that when we get that dynamic loft, in this case about 7 degrees less than the static loft, and we get that angle of attack still down, we're going to start to see some issues with how far this is going to go. Okay, guys, last but not least, we're going to look at the stronger lofted game improvement 6-iron. We've seen a progression where we had 40 yards of this distance between the wedge and the 8-iron with really nice impact conditions. But it'll be interesting to see what we get here with this one. So club head speed was actually down 1 mile an hour. We produced one less, but we climbed up quite considerably more in the ball speed to 135. Spin rate was at 4,200, which for a 6-iron is obviously, you guys know, too low. Dynamic loft down at 20 degrees. That's the problem that you're going to have, guys, is that you're going to have a really hard time controlling your golf ball. And this is in dry, perfect conditions. It doesn't get any better than off this lie. You add some moisture, some dirt, some interference in the friction between club face and ball, as you guys know, that is going to decrease the spin even more and cause an even bigger delta between the kind of stronger lofted club and the standard lofted club. So you can see why I'm cautioning you guys against going straight into clubs that are just game improvement, supercharged to give you more distance, because I feel like I'm making a really good swing at this right now. I mean, again, 4 degrees down in the angle attack, 93 miles an hour club head speed. You know, from a player perspective, you're doing just about all you can, not far off it. And you're getting some really inconsistent results. And that's not what I want for you guys at all. Let's hit one last one with the stronger lofted club. The loft in this one, mine's at 29 on my 6-iron. This one, I believe, comes in at 24. So it's quite a bit stronger. Absolutely smoked that. 94.7, good swing. Carry 213, 4-iron distance. My 4-iron is about 3 degrees stronger in loft than this, and the ball speed's coming off about the same. It's crazy how much speed are being engineered into these modern game improvement irons. But how useful is it when you've got such big discrepancies in your carry distance? We've got the best part of 140. We've got about 70 yards between our pitch and wedge and our 6-iron. I mean, that's not manageable when it comes to gapping and making sure all the clubs work appropriately. So Be careful. Be careful when it comes to which one you select first. If you are the high dynamic loft player, listen, I get it. You know, you might be a little bit on the shallow side and that type of thing. Let me leave you with one thought on that as you are sort of, you know, as the high dynamic loft player, maybe. Okay, we've got a new little subcategory here, high dynamic loft player. So the player who's a little bit on the weaker side. This is my problem for players who get on that weaker side. So there's the shallower angle of attack. There's the player who's probably looking at, I hit all the irons that I hit quite high and not far enough distance. I want to gain some distance. You can gain distance, but look at the spin rate. That spin rate that I like to see in and around 5,500 on a 6-iron has now plummeted into the mid 3,000s. That is where it becomes a huge, huge problem with these types of clubs, is to try and retain any kind of spin at all. A little bit more dynamic loft there. But it does become a problem, guys, retaining enough spin. Spin is control. The more spin you've got, the more you can dictate and sort of predict what your golf ball is going to do. You lose that spin, that's when it becomes a guessing game as to how far the golf ball is going to go. You look at players when they add in sort of Bermuda rough and things in the floor of the swings and they start getting flyers. It's a wild card. No one knows how far their irons are going to go when they're sitting in dodgy lies and you don't kind of get that consistent friction. These game improvement clubs, you have to be very careful when you're into them. If you're slower club head speed and you're a bit slicey, I get it. I think they're advantageous for a certain type of player. If you add a little bit of dynamic loft and you're a little bit choppy and you create lots of spin, right? Let's kind of imitate a little bit. Okay, we know lots of players out there who are like that. In that case, I'm fine with it because you're going to produce enough spin through your spin loft. You've got a reasonable amount of distance without going crazy. You've got launch and spin are very acceptable, but that's the type of player that I think would benefit from this type of iron. The minute you get shallow, you get a little bit hooky, these things are an absolute recipe for disaster when it comes to trying to control your distances. Give you the inside shallow draw this time. Right, there's the opposite player. Similar speed, right? 90, 89 miles an hour. Attack angle went down to 0. Ball speed was good. Spin went to 3,300. I mean, good luck with that. It's just going to hit the green and jump through the back. There's no control coming in when you're using these irons and that type of thing. So be careful. I definitely caution you to get your swing to the point where your delivery is really, really strong. I would love you to start hitting the ball low, then go get fit and allow the fitter to raise your ball flight. That would be my preference. If you're in a really strong impact position and you've got good compression on the golf ball and you've got good speed, all those good things, earn the right to give the fitter the opportunity to make your ball go up. Lots of great technology to do that nowadays, but don't just try to buy your way to a solution that you think is going to fix everything because you can't get your swing where you need it to be. I would love you to get that impact position stronger, then gain height through the fit afterwards. All right, guys. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, love to hear from you on a topic like this that might be a little on the controversial side. Some of you will have went the opposite way around. Fine, I get it. But just at least have this in your ear as an alternative opinion as to what we think you should do. All right, stay tuned for more, and we'll see you again soon.